Oh, wow. So the obelisks, right? The obelisks in the Vatican, the obelisks, the Washington Monument, obelisks over there in the cemeteries. All that information, it's the Rosicrucian, it's the Egyptian thing, sun worship. We're in this great reset, the infestation of humans. And wow, I'm telling you, man, it's all synchronicity. And, on Saturday, my husband went fishing and I decided to stay home because it's too freaking hot. I know how hot it's going to be. I know how hot it is. It was bad. So I stayed home and I had to take a nap. I did sleep. And then Sunday, we had to do shopping and we did go for ice cream. But when we went for ice cream, it was too freaking hot. Like, seriously hot. I wanted to go back into the truck because I was not going to sit out there and eat ice cream in the freaking intense heat. And so, I know my husband doesn't understand. I know he doesn't get it. Men don't understand. It's too fucking hot for women to be out there, for girls to be out there. But somehow some men were given well, I guess here in Canton, Ohio, because a lot of working class men that work out in the heat, that work out in the cold, they are so adaptable and so tolerant to extremely intense conditions that someone like myself from California, no less been raised by yuppies and scientists, same thing. There's no way I could just sit like on a boat for such a long period of time without having something happen, especially now. There's no way during this crazy climate change I'd be sitting outside in the intense 80, almost 90 degree heat. And so, that was an interesting situation explaining that. Because right now, a lot of people are going through some major fucking changes. Like major. There's cancer, disease, chronic illness. And there is a suffering with cancer, obviously. And people who have cancer and disease and chronic illness and are under medication, going for countless surgeries and whatever else, they don't want to suffer, obviously. And sometimes their vices are necessary. Sometimes they won't be able to quit drinking. They won't be able to quit smoking. They won't be able to quit drugs or anything else because the suffering is astronomical. And I don't think anyone, now I'm understanding, I don't think anyone should ask anyone who is suffering right now under medical care to stop smoking, to stop drinking, stop doing drugs unless it's completely deadly. And then, the government will come and step in. But I'm telling you, the suffering is so astronomical. Asking anyone to let go of their vices is probably inhumane. And so I understand that from that point of view. Because when someone thinks that I should be out there, okay, and I should be out there hanging out with people and socializing in the aggressive heat, like fishing or hunting or whatever, sitting in the aggressive heat, that's forcing somebody to suffer for you. And I don't care who it is. It could be a husband, it could be a wife, it could be, a friend, family, whatever. Child. These children don't realize how hot it is until they fucking die. Or they faint in a Walmart. And so to ask somebody to suffer for you because you want to keep up appearances or you want to maintain a certain type of lifestyle, that's why people will not survive their friends and family. That's what's fucking crazy right now. Because people don't understand how deadly it is right now out there in this extreme heat. And it's not even just like summer. Like people are like, oh, it's only summer. I don't understand what the fuck you're talking about. Like, no, this is more than just summer, honey. This is like also aggressive particle acceleration, climate change, whatever. I don't even want to say global warming because that has its own little freaking baggage from all the conspiracy people who deny that global warming is happening because it's cold over here. So, I understand now why people will not get off their drugs or alcohol or anything else or aggressive sex. I get it because the suffering's too much. Because when someone says, well, you should get out more and I'm like, no, fuck no. I'll go out to dinner, I'll go do stuff indoors, but outdoors, Outdoors right now, it's bad. It is so bad, you literally have to stay in air conditioning if you want to survive. But again, there are some people who are raised in extreme temperatures and also worked outside. So they had so many years of conditioning to work in aggressive heat, but now the heat's even more so, to work in aggressive cold. And someone like myself I don't want to keep up with anyone right now as far as outside. There's no fucking way. Okay? And you have to be the one. That's the thing, is that those that have the freedom to say no, you got to know your limits. You got to know your limits, because it is really bad out there. And so the infestation of humans, the infestation of humans happened way back in the Middle Ages. Because remember, around 1600, 1500, it was only 500 million population, and it doubled and tripled through the therapies market, through the preventative, right? When you're seeing people saying, oh gosh, we have a new, what is it? I heard something on the YouTube. The radio, they're like, we got to prevent this. No, we got to prevent something to do with the weather and prevent something to do with climate change and prevent something to do, I don't know. But there was something about preventing something. You can't prevent the climate change. You can't prevent the microbes. You can't prevent people from having to realize what they are incubating in their body. And that's what I realized, because when I went to the Walmart yesterday and I didn't feel any I didn't feel the surge of energy like I usually felt. I didn't feel the anxiety walking into that Walmart. I didn't feel heart palpitations even when I left. I didn't feel what I felt since like March 29th, before my husband left to go on his vacation. I didn't feel any of that. And I'm like, wow. Because I let him stay home because I just needed to go and do the shopping on my own. Because yeah, we have our own discussions about things. He doesn't understand that some people don't have the same tolerance level to extreme conditions than he does. My husband's a tough man. And when you're married to someone that's really tough and really just robust and tough and extremely tolerant to extreme conditions, you have to know your boundaries or they will kill you. Not because they mean to, because you're trying to keep up with someone that you have no business trying to keep up with. And I know my limits on so many levels. Women and men who don't know their limits, they end up with cancer, disease, chronic illness, and autoimmune disorders. That's the issue right now. We have kids that don't know their limits because their parents don't know their limits, because their parents don't know their limits with themselves. And we have parents who don't know limits, and kids don't know their limits. So it's like, and so I know my limits. And so I went and drove the truck to the Walmart. I walked in. Felt fine. Usually by the time I get to the bread section, because I'm in the corner to the left hand side, and I make my way around to the meat section and all that, that's when I start feeling like anxiety. None at all. And I was like, wow. And then when I ended up going to the self-checkout, I was like, whoa, okay, I feel good. I'm just doing my thing. And then I hear this girl behind me. I hear just a collapse, and I hear a head knocking. I'm looking, and I reacted. And I reacted loudly, too. Because I was shocked to see somebody just faint. And we hear about it on Facebook. We see it in the Diet Suddenly groups. But when it finally comes close to home, when it's 15-year-olds, and they're girls, 16-year-olds. And we know young kids are dying right now. They're on airplanes, they're out there playing around, doing whatever. And we have these young kids dying because the heat's so fucking aggressive, people don't even understand. Parents don't get it because they're so used to it. They don't realize their kids don't have the same kind of tolerance as them. And then these poor kids are suffering under these conditions, and the parents don't understand because the parents are like, well, I'm your parent, you do what I say. That's why the system put the power of God into these parents, so that way when the system does change, the parents want to keep with their social capital and with their traditions. These poor kids are forced then into performing, and then they die they die during their performances. Literally, they die. Or they faint. And so I was just like, oh my God. And this is right after my husband and I were having a discussion about stuff. So I called him and said, Jason, there's a girl that was behind me that fainted. It's too fucking hot. It's too fucking hot. He's like, are you coming home? I'm like, yes, I'm coming home. Not that I was not going to, but it was just, that was how he responded. Because, again, you know, the universe put me here in Ohio. The universe put me with him. The universe put me in so many different situations to observe humans in their natural habitat. And me just, writing about my observations. So you get the perspective. From someone in a different area, different world, in a different situation. So you can kind of understand and see what goes on. And if you're just like, well, Jillian's stupid, well, you're going to do whatever the fuck you can do anyway, so it doesn't even matter. Why even listen to me, right? So I came home and I was like, yeah, it's bad out there. I don't want you mowing the grass today, because my husband's more of an afternoon night person, not an early morning person. So that's why I waited, because I don't know what the hell. I was waiting for, but he has to drink his coffee and he has to relax. So by the time he's ready to leave the house, it's like deep into the afternoon, like midday, and it's like maybe 1 or 2 o'clock. And I'm a morning person. He's an afternoon person. And right now, doing anything in the afternoon, doing anything in the midday, you're asking for trouble. And so when I came back, and it was hot, you saw my face it looked really round in that video that I did Facebook Live when I was in that truck. But yeah, when I'm in a hot climate, like outside and around people, my immune system thickens up to give me that protection. And then, and then it finally, and then when I'm back at home, it changes. And so I don't have as much of the swelling. I don't say swelling because it sounds so like aggressive. But anyways, so when I came home, I put everything away and everything, and I was just making that video, and I was thinking like, fuck, infestation. Yeah, what I felt the last few months was another colony forming unit that broke open, like, a sack of baby spiders, and when finally all the conditions are right, and the heat or other things, then their instinct to then open up, and then you see all these baby spiders come out, and you see about the movies, the mummy, and the spiders, or the flies coming out of the mummy's mouth. Okay, that's kind of what humans are right now. We have been royally infested with so much, yes, diversity, adversity, talent, memories, trauma. I mean, whenever you get a VACCINE, you're getting an injection of memories. Injection of memories that will then intertwine with your memories, and then potentially when you have a baby, that baby might have an aptitude for something that it was introduced to through the therapies. Not all the time through mothers, inheriting from mothers and fathers' talents, but sometimes you get talents injected into you. And then over time, that those metastasize, and relative to the nurturing, because nature's through all the stuff, through the public health therapies, right, through all the aggressive procreation and nurture is what the school system, not only what they nurture, what they bring to surface. If you have those talents that you didn't know you had until you showed an aptitude for them. That's why they had the GATE program back when I was growing up. Because there are some kids that showed an aptitude because of what the system injected or what was fostered in that family. Yeah. So you had time, like you had these little demons within. So in a slower frequency environment, the system would allow you to grow with those demons, like growing with a puppy. Like people give puppies to their kids, they grow up together. That's kind of like these demons are on people. It's like an infestation that has a slowed maturity level. on certain levels, on certain things. And so when you have that, then you see then the aptitude, you see the different talents that kids have, and then when fostered through the different programs of, you know, academics and engineering and all that, then you see people like Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Bezos and all these different millions, Zuckerberg, okay? And then, see, he's like no different than anybody else, except that he was born into a family that has a lot of technology, biotechnology, yeah, bioengineering, like all of us. And so he's able to produce something like a Facebook. Okay? And then you have these high-level colleges that will foster that, and people who were introduced to those aptitudes already in utero and also in the family. So then fast forward to climate change, as the climate keeps heating up and we still get all these VHCCINESs injecting infestation in people. And then of course all the SEX, all this aggressive sexuality, the big families, the therapies, then compounding the issues, and then also the intent to stop the release process so that people are stopped up and they have so much diversity. Not like literally 100% stopped up, but more stopped up than, more closed than open. So you think about people saying that we live in a closed universe, right? A dome type, the firmament, the flat earth, a closed universe. When I think about it, and I could see where that could be true because immune systems have been conditioned to be closed more than open. So that's why you get so much of sexual orientation and all the different diseases. Well, you fast forward the climate change and everything else and all these crazy storms and the heat, the high heat, incubation. Then these colony units in people's bodies that have metastasized and have been like poked by climate change from the pandemic of 2019. You start seeing these colony forming units open up. And that's what you're seeing all over. You're seeing the die suddenlies from that. You're seeing the pain, the spike protein. People are like, oh, the spike protein. No, you're infested. And that's literally what I've been dealing with the last 7 years, is releasing the infestation of all the therapies, of all the VHCCINESs, of all the remedies that I've ever taken. Remember, even people that I had sex with, whatever it is that I took on, intravenously, through sexuality, through sharing drinks and whatever else, and through the therapies, the medical system. Well, they burrow inside the body in different places, and then different conditions trigger them. That's why you saw a progressive trigger in cancer, in disease, all these different diseases, Lyme disease, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, lupus, MS, all these different named diseases, cancers. Those are all colony units of spiritual microbial. It's not just like, oh, it's just an energy of spirit. It's actual microbial intelligence that influences your immune system, influences your very thoughts, influences everything, your behaviors, the love, the hate, the addiction to drugs and alcohol and sex. I mean, and that's what I've progressively been releasing. And they are your dreams too. I had some crazy ass dreams last night about eating shit. That's crazy. Why would you? I don't know, man. I had crazy dreams of being left somewhere. Okay, a couple nights ago. I mean, the heat and whatever else is out there. I'm telling you, man, it's insane. The type of infestation of memories that give you then your religion, your politics, even your scientific dogmas. And so when people are hatching these types of things and they're feeling stuff, and there's a name for it. It's called lupus. It's called all the different diseases. It's called wanting to have children to represent the beast within. Like I said, incubus and succubus. You don't just spontaneously develop eggs out of nowhere. How does that happen? Because you have infestation in you to develop eggs, to then develop a behavior of sexual reproduction and sexuality and, of course, orientation. And how does sperm? Because there's a succubus inside. So incubus in women, succubus in men. And you can call women succubus if you want to. You can call men incubus if you want to. That's the name of these songs, or the name of these groups. Like Korn, Coming Undone, and that Firmament. That was fucking insane. But yeah, so that's how you get the eggs and the sperm, and then people are acting out whatever they were programmed to do. And so the last 7 years, you saw me releasing those demons with crazy ass dreams, with pain and suffering and aches. And I'll tell you, man, it's no fucking picnic. You got to be strong enough to fight the battle within. That some people are not strong enough to fight battle within, so they're out there projecting the battle out there. And I know how, and I still have, I'm not, when I asked the lady at Walmart, I told her to look at my neck and see if it looked normal. She said, it looked normal. I'm like, okay, well, who knows what normal is, people, but whatever. But this is the back of my neck. I still feel it, but it doesn't feel, I don't know. I don't know if you can see it. But anyways, but I know that eventually another hatchling will come out during another climate change until it disappears and who knows what. Okay? And so, yeah, the last 7 years, and the last 3 years even more so, people are hatching all of these things in their body. And of course, it's being channeled through their politics, their religion, their science, dogmas, through their industry, their jobs. And it's crazy. And so I then remembered, after playing that song, or actually finding that song, I don't even know how I found that song. That song, Coming Undone, because it's not something I would just be like, oh, okay, I'm going to use that for those Facebook Reels. But I was putting in swarm in Google, or was it YouTube? I forget which. And it brought me a list of music of people, and Korn was one of them. Coming down, I'm like, oh, I've heard of this. And so I went on to Facebook Reels and played that loop. I'm like, I like this. And then, of course, I like the song because it reminded me of when I first got here, and then the bands I would see when I met my husband, and he went to these bars like every Friday night and every Saturday night. He would go partying with his sister and friends and stuff. And so, yeah, so then I played that, and then I went and watched the video on YouTube, and I'm watching this guy with gold or silver teeth crooning, more than crooning, just yelling into the mic. And then I see the sky, it was all breaking apart. First, it was a blue sky breaking into the universe, and then the universe breaking into white light, coming undone, and he's coming unraveling. And I'm like, that's exactly what's going on with humans right now. Humanity, with this whole old world, it's unraveling. People are unraveling. And I'm like, and the swarms, the infestation of people are breaking them apart. And that's what you're watching all over Facebook, all over whatever. I'm watching the news at night, like ABC or NBC, and they're like, yeah, another shooting here, another shooting there, a drowning here, a drowning there, car crashes here, car crashes there, fear here, fear there. Oh yeah, we're in Revelations. But again, the heat is a fucking killer. So let me bring this back to what I originally was talking about. The heat is a freaking killer. The heat will break you apart. The heat will destroy you. And you have to drink so much water and eat so much food and allow these things to come to surface. But some people can't, and I get it. You would suffer. You don't want to suffer, but you would suffer if you didn't have your vices, if you didn't have your partners, if you didn't have your friends and family. And why should I ask anyone to suffer, right? And so, yeah, if people don't want to suffer, they're either going to have to be with their vices and their friends and family and their addictions, or they let it out on Facebook, or they die suddenly. And that's why the system is turned to a surveillance society. I can handle the suffering because I have been. It was a progressive one. I allowed it to progressively go through its process back in 2019. I mean, I suffered a lot when I first started the Jade protocol because I woke up the demons within. That's what happened with the Jade juice in the beginning. It's ionic and it woke up the demons. And that's why the system was like, oh my God, because the system knew how much people were infested with these colony forming units, that any kind of energy would wake up the beast. But if you had the capacity to suffer and eat food and all that and not run away disease, then you could potentially survive the war of infestation. And it's not a spiritual infestation. You actually have microbes that are like burrowing deep inside, that when they do come to surface, you'll dream about them. You'll act out whatever, and you'll find like minds on Facebook, or you go out with a bang, or you're so angry. Well, that's the same thing as acting out on Facebook. But whoa. So yeah, so I was having the dreams, and those little entities, they are formidable, and they will give you the crazy ass dreams. And oh my God. And you have to poop, you have to pee. And so, and of course you do, but I mean, I didn't get too much of the underarm pain. I didn't have too much of the arm. I had a little bit of soreness, but not that much. My range of motion is good. I don't have the pull like I do, but I'm waiting for the next freaking frequency shift when the system turns things up a little bit hotter. Okay, like in fall, another frequency shift, and then it'll wake up another colony unit. I don't know how many I have, but they're manageable. I know what to expect. And so, yeah, I think the whole thing with the glass ceiling, the women in the glass ceiling, that's another reference to flat earth and dome and firmament. I really, truly think that there is something to the whole flat earth world. There is something to it. I can't tell you what it is, but there's too much evidence pointing to potentially there's a credibility that the system can change from globe earth to now flat earth. Maybe that was originally what it was, but the system wanted to do a great reset and also develop so much innovation. Because you think about it, the great thinkers, Copernicus, Galileo, Newton, and Kepler and all that, these were men in the Middle Ages, Renaissance, whatever, Middle Ages. And they stayed home. They weren't out there gallivanting. They didn't have the distractions of family and children and addictions. Maybe they had addictions, but I don't know. But they were able to develop such innovation and knew that through, like Dante Alighieri and him understanding his alimentary canal and the 9 circles of hell and purgatory, and where the Vatican with the whole, the Vatican and all those little demons everywhere, and that monument, or what do you call that, the obelisk, and the Washington Monument. They're telling you as well, and even in the graveyards and Egyptian, they're telling you, yeah, injecting the sky, ejecting or dejecting, whatever. Rejecting, I don't know. They knew something, yeah. That there was going to be, they knew that there was going to be innovation, and then there was going to be eventually, not just innovation, but eventually there was going to be a depopulation. They would take all the great minds, and you're seeing all over Facebook, people are sharing their information. And then the system, the great, what is it? The data gatherers. And they are your government. They're beyond the American government. There are world leaders out there that are watching everybody on Facebook, watching all the influencers, watching all of the people reacting. And they're gathering the data, even watching me. Okay? And they will take that information and then develop the new society. And maybe it is flat earth. Maybe there is such a long flat earth. But again, I don't want the reason why they did the globe earth, why? Because the circle of life, right? Circle of life, dying and reproducing, developing predator and prey. And that's why you have all these animals, and people have pets that are conditioned to die and get treated to death and watch suffer and then put down. So you get conditioned to suffering to die versus suffering to live and all that. But when you're in such a diverse society of 8 billion people from 500 million back in the Middle Ages, yeah, they wanted to take so much of the innovation and put it all together. And eventually, Once that redundancy is gone, see, that's why the thing is, in your body, all these colony-forming units of talents and analytics and trauma and violence and sexuality, that's all redundancy, because you have a redundancy in your body, you have redundancy out there. How many insurance agents are out there? How many insurance companies are out there? How many grocery stores are out there? Okay? There's so much, not only competition, but so much redundancy. Eventually, the system have to streamline stuff and do like a hostile takeover. And when you do a hostile takeover and you have an acquisition or a merging, then those that took over are going to then release the redundancy. You can't have 2 HR people or 2 HR directors, only 1 HR director. You can't have 2 executives, only 1 executive or CEO. Okay? And so the system right now is releasing the redundancy in the economics, in politics, religion, science, and even biologically. And yeah, their aim is 500 million. But to release billions and billions of people, it's going to be progressive. It's going to be through so much cytokine storms, so much the infestation hatching itself during these crazy climate changes. It's going to be through the hurricanes, the tornadoes, through the aggressive rain, the floods, the haboobs, the heat waves. You're in it. And so, and you know, back then they developed the Bible to give people then something like Jehovah's Witnesses and Christianity and even aggressive Judaism, because even Jewish people who are still, they're buying into the VACCINES as the public health stuff. They're buying into all the wars, you know, and all that. So it's not like, you know, it's the fault of the Jewish people that's what's going on. No, every single culture has been used as a scapegoat. Now they're merging everyone together and letting them microbially as well as physically, if they're in that situation, fight to the death. You're in the Hunger Games, you're in Gladiators, you're in every single kind of war that you've seen on television, in the movies. And so what did I do? I stepped away from the fucking war. And I deal with the infestation that's within me, that I know everybody has, and releasing the demons. And eating food, and staying home, and staying safe, and not running away my disease. And I can handle pain and suffering, but I could never, ever make anyone else feel pain and suffering. And so if your claim to fame is to take away people's pain, eventually it will be rest in peace. You're not saving anyone's life out there in the medical holistic. But again, the most humane way to depopulate people is through their own hand, through their own belief systems. And then the most humane way is to die suddenly. Because you're seeing people going back to the medical system, getting more operations, more therapies, more suffering, and getting treated to death. And so if they don't feel anything and everything is great and they just die suddenly, that's a great life. Because imagine, you know, if I didn't understand what's going on with my neck and everything else, I'd be suffering trying to take that away, but then take the pain away or take something else, and you can't do that. Because even though you take pain away for a second, as soon as the climate changes again, you're back to where you were before, trying to figure out how to get another cure. That's the whole run for the cures. And that's in the medical, holistic system, energy healing, surgical system world. And so the last 7 years, I brought up the pain, released it. Yeah, I might have attacked it with with the garlic oil and the colloidal silver way back when, but I got away from all the holistic stuff, got away from all the supplements, got away from all the diets that are out there. And eventually, when my system was releasing those demons, especially back in July of 2022, when I could barely walk and barely move, a year later, I was eating so many ice cream sandwiches, drinking so much cream, drinking so much milk, eating so much of the milk, the meat, the cheese, the eggs. And this last few months, I've been eating so much spaghetti. Like so much spaghetti. Because those heart palpitations is like your body now activating to go fight another battle. That's exactly what the heart palpitations are, the tachycardia. When I'm feeling the tachycardia, and it's like in the morning or at night, yeah, that's my immune system activating, and it's fighting a battle. It's going and corralling the beast and putting it in different places, and then my body is progressively dealing with it and fighting the battle, neutralizing it, and then releasing the waste material, releasing the demons, and I help it release the demons. And so, yeah, if you don't want to have so much of those July 4th fireworks, like a carpet bombing of stuff, you got to lessen the triggers, but you still have to eat food. But when you're out there hanging out with your friends, going on boats and trips and things like that, you can wake up a beast that you won't be able to win because you don't have the infrastructure, the substance. People are working with such deficits, they already don't have meat, milk, cheese, or eggs in their diet because they're afraid they're either vegan or vegetarian or whatever. And so their blood vessels are not reinforced. They can't expand and contract like they need to. Their heart muscles are not reinforced. Of course, they have so many colony-forming units that turn into then rubbery items like human calamari. Why is it human calamari? Because remember, we're made of Hydra, 39 trillion colony-forming units of viruses, which are made up of parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria, and you can't attack them or you attack yourself. And so people are holding on to this type of stuff in their blood because they're taking medications to stop their body from releasing. Where do those little life forms go? They burrow places and they're burrowing your bloodstream. And then when the heat comes in, it not only cooks them, but makes them grow bigger and cooks them. Your blood's boiling. And when your blood's boiling, it's like making stew. You're putting in, raw squid and shrimp, and it turns into calamari. That's why I posted that reel about calamari. And then what those blood clots look like, those rubbery blood clots, are basically human calamari. Because people they don't understand that they have to release the demons, stay cool, eat food, allow their immune system to have the temperature to go, to cool them off or to make them hot relative to the outside temperature. And they got to stay home, especially during these really aggressive times. Bro, oh no, it's only summer, Jillian. There's no climate change. There's no global warming. Jillian, you're stupid. Okay, tell that to the girl that was behind me that fainted. Oh, but she could have been pregnant. She could have had this. Yeah, oh yeah, we see people explain everything away. You don't see a rise in the diet studies and the faintings and the turbo cancers. But yeah, I understand blaming it on the V's because that's definitely a huge factor in it. And yes, I did support the V's for a minute, so I understood that side of it, so I can understand from the point of view of the science side and how they sold that to the people. It's protection. Protecting from what? What protection, preparation, and what was it? I have it listed out because I don't have everything memorized. What is it? Okay. Well, that's okay. I had it listed. Where did I put it? Protection, preparation, and prevention. That's right. You can't. There's no such thing. You can't prevent something that you're around. You can't prevent something that's in your body. You can't prevent the climate change. So all that's a fallacy. That's how they sold it to you. So I had to understand that's how they sold it to you. And so when you were blood type A and B and you didn't have certain antibodies, then they would give you the monoclonal antibodies for whatever's in your environment, but then that would also be an infestation. Monoclonal antibodies is infestation. Getting a V, infestation. Getting having a bunch of sex, infestation. Having a bunch of kids, infestation. Having a huge family, infestation. It happens at the micro level and the macro level. And so yeah, the system is spraying for bugs. Literally. And people are releasing the demons. And you're seeing the demons come up on boils. That's what the whole 10 plagues was, boils. We're in the 10 plagues. The destruction of the firstborn? Not literally, because sometimes the secondborn, sometimes the thirdborn. Yeah. So the system kept telling, the system is giving you choices. Stay home and stay safe. And get shit delivered to you if you don't want to get triggered by Walmart or anything else. Because again, I tell you, I remember feeling so dizzy in that Walmart. I felt like I was going to freaking die. It was crazy. That was a couple weeks ago. And that's why I got pissed off at Walmart but no, I had those little beasts inside that is yet to be released. It was another layer of infestation that I had to release. And it was a dizziness. It was feeling like, I had to go to bed and sleep and eat. I mean, yeah, it was miserable. This is ever since March 29th that I have been dealing with this releasing of this demon. March 29th, and then it came to a head a couple weeks ago when I was on the lake, and the wind and the pollen triggered then the flurry of sneezes and the tachycardia, the heartbeats, heart palpitations, and the hunger. And another sneeze, I had the hunger and then the feelings of aches of the hunger. Oh my God. And so that's why people can't eat food, because the food will trigger the immune system to activate to try to fight the battle that people are not prepared to fight. And that's why they're on low sodium diets. They're on gluten-free, sugar-free, salt-free, every free diet, because everything is painful. I was listening to a guy last night that said that his health is declining. And he's talking about every single thing that people are dealing with. He's waking up the beast within. And he doesn't know how to battle them. He doesn't know how. All he could do is just find another cure or another medicine that doesn't work. And so what's left for people to do? They die suddenly. Or they take their own life. And it's fucking crazy. It's freaking crazy. But yeah, when my husband said, oh, you should get out more often. Fuck no, not right now. No, when I wanted to go in that truck to eat my ice cream. And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, Jason, it's too fucking hot. And again, men don't fucking understand this. Because they're built for really harsh conditions. They were the original slaves. There's some men that, yeah, they're yuppies that wouldn't work out in the harsh. But a lot of these working class men, a lot of them are right-wing Republican, don't understand what's going on, feel nothing, and think everyone should suffer for them. No. No. And so I did a little memoir of how everything is connected. With motherload, and I'll let you read that. I don't need to read that word for word. But I'm just going to go through and see. Yeah. Strokes and clots, basically human calamari. And limit your outdoor activities and drink plenty of water. Never leave your kids or pets in a car, and do not leave your pets outside. Yeah. I never left my pet outside. And so coming undone through corn shows you breaking the firmament. And that's the oblivious are too as well. And I have that Facebook reel. Okay. And I did that Canton, Ohio Walmart thing. Oh, yeah. And so I'll post that. And so, yeah, you know, there's really nothing you really can do except either deal with the pain and suffering and find a way to change the way you do things, or not, or just die suddenly. Like, I don't know people. I have no idea how to help people, because you really can't. They have to help themselves. And they have to understand information and how to process it and how to change their lifestyle and belief system. And I'm telling you, yeah, it's not going to happen for a lot of people. And so, yeah, the whole sleeper cells, that's basically all those little colony forming units that are waking up during this climate change. And people are dying suddenly. 8-year-olds, 50-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 30-year-olds, it's all over. And then you have people committing crimes. And ISIS equals sleeper cells equals fertility. You see all that with ISIS, and that's the terrorism stuff. And so virus equals hatchlings equals incubus and succubus sleeper cells. Okay? Reverse engineer everything you've ever known. And so freedom equals death, July 4th fireworks, Independence Day, also known as died suddenly. Virus equals hatchlings. That's the rapture, that's the rupture. Those are the hatchlings. That's what's going on right now. People are hatching everything. And it's coming to surface, and it's coming out in behaviors and everything else. And die suddenly. So if I don't go fishing with people, like my husband likes to go fishing with people, but I'm not. I'm going to go very little, and especially with the heat, it's crazy. Because I don't want to suffer like it did so much. I know eventually I'll have to deal with whatever later, but I want to lessen the amount of continuous sufferings. I don't know how many freaking beasts I have within. But it's nice to have this respite. But I'll tell you, I won this battle, but there'll be another battle in the future I will deal with. Because we have been experimented on so much since the Middle Ages. And you're going to have to change the way you do stuff. Or you'll break the firmament and be injected into the universe. Called the rapture, the rupture. And that's exactly what's going on. People are being injected into the universe through the rapture, because they cannot change the way they do stuff, and they don't have the capacity for pain and suffering. And yeah, we're going back to the Middle Ages, but with more advanced humans. That's exactly what's going on. That's why they said 500 million. Where do you think they got that number, 500 million? Because that's not arbitrary. Nothing is arbitrary at all when it comes to the Georgia Guidestones. There is nothing arbitrary. That came from the Middle Ages. That came from the Middle Ages. Good luck.